All right, guys. My name is Russ Warner. I'm the CEO of Ghost Boards. Those that don't know anything about Ghost Boards, I'll take you on a quick little tour here so you can kind of see what we do. So Ghost Boards, hence the name, is because we make clear longboards. So as you see here, and I'll tell you the whole story how this got started. I'll give you a quick little rundown. So we do about everything you can think of, from ones with dog biscuits in it. What was that?
Laughing.
Laughing. All right. LEDs. And we let people kind of pick whatever colors that they want to do, from wheels to trucks. So I say we're like Build-A-Bear, but Build-A-Board. And so explain a little bit more on what we do here. All right, so there you go. There's the quick rundown. And so here's the story. I've always been an entrepreneur my whole life. You know, when I was in elementary school, I used to make suckers and candy, and I used to sell it to the St. Mark's Hospital, to door, and go sell candy anywhere I could. So I'd get home and work till midnight just making suckers and candy. After that, I started a lawn care business and did lawns and yards and did that for quite a bit, and then sold that. While I was in college, I wanted to start another business. So I started I guess when I was going to college, I always thought I was going to be something, and I didn't know what I wanted to be. I always liked being self-employed. So I always thought working for somebody else was not something I ever wanted to do. So from a chemical company to a landscaping business to a candy company, I always wanted to do something that I could do. And so then in 2000, probably about 2005, 2006, I got into making iPhone games. I had a son that had me get an iPhone. I was like, hey, look at, they have games on here. So my first game I ever made was called, I don't know if I'm frozen. Can you guys still hear me?
We can hear you, but you're frozen.
Okay.
You're back.
Yeah, so I made a game called Billy Booger. You flick boogers at your mom and dad and your sister. And I thought it was fun because boogers were, everybody talks about boogers, you know, so every booger had a different concept. You know, the pizza booger did one thing when you hit the cat, the snail booger did another thing, the bullet booger, the green booger, there's 10 different really cute boogers. I'll tell you what I learned from that experience of making boogers is I wanted to do a parade, and I realized to make a parade, it would cost thousands of dollars, and you'd have to shut down a street. You'd have to get police involved, the city involved, tell all the people, hire all the people to do parade, you know, like floats. But I did learn for $25, you could be in the parade. So I paid 25 bucks to be in this Riverton parade, and I got in the parade for 25 bucks. So I got all my nephews and nieces and kids, and we got my truck and trailer, and I decided to make Billy Booger balls and Billy Booger t-shirts and Billy Booger stickers. And I'm going through this parade, and I realized even the guy is announcing was like, okay, here comes Billy Booger around the corner, you know, and I'm throwing out candy and stickers and balls and everything, and people were freaking out. And I felt like my experience with this, I owned the parade. For 25 bucks, that was my parade. I was the most popular float there was in this parade, all because I was giving away free stuff, having fun, and making it a party. And so that's the number one thing of business. If I could teach you one book to read, just one, it would be called Raving Fans by Ken Blanchard. So let me explain what that is. Let me go up here. I've got even a whiteboard back here. You know, isn't that what teachers supposed to do, is use a white?
Yeah.
Look at this. So if I was going to say right here, I'm going to write up here, Raving Fans. Okay, let me explain what a raving fan is. A raving fan is, if you ever been to a restaurant and the waiter comes up to you and asks you the one question, they always ask you the same question. And what do they ask? How is your food? How is everything? And you answer in two ways. You say, what? Good or fine. If you answered good or fine, they failed. The business failed because they did not create a raving fan. What a raving fan is, now think of a place you've been. It could be Disneyland, a restaurant, somewhere where you had such an amazing experience that it knocked your socks off. And what did you do? The first thing you did is you took a picture of that food, that steak. You're like, oh my gosh, best steak ever. And then what do? You went and shared it with everybody. I need to tell all my friends, all my family about this steak or this ride or this car wash or whatever it is that you became a raving fan of. So if you're a business and you don't create raving fans, you failed. So let me explain that a little bit more detail. So Disneyland has what they call little wows. So they believe that every person that goes to Disneyland, they're going to make $66,250 off. How do they do that? Is because if you have such a good experience, you're going to tell your friends, you're going to tell your family, you're going to promote it for them, you're going to advertise for them, then you're going to come back, and then you're going to bring your kids, then you're going to bring your grandkids, then you're going to bring your great grandkids, and they're going to make $66,250 over a lifetime of every person that walks in the park if they do their job right. Now, what does it mean to do your job right? Well, they go through all these, they call 100 little wows. And so what they do is they create the windows a little bit lower so every 2-year-old can see in the windows of the stores. They open up both doors so so they look inviting that you want to walk into the store. And then they put a smell of popcorn or whatever coming out of the store so it invites you of the smell. And then they actually measured every 22 steps is a garbage can. Every 22 steps in the park. So they watched people, how many steps are they going to take before they throw a piece of paper on the ground? And so they did all these little things to measure what would create people of cleanliness, that smells good, gives people this environment that they love, this experience at Disneyland. So if you go back to raving fans, this is probably the most important thing in my business. So Ghost Boards, how this all started in 2017, I was getting fat and old, and I needed something to have a hobby. Number two is I needed to exercise. And I didn't want to ride a bike because it hurt my butt. I didn't want to run because I just thought that looked really boring and I didn't want to do it. And I thought, man, when I was 12 years old, I used to skateboard. That'd be kind of fun to get a longboard and go out longboarding. And so I went on to Amazon, I bought a longboard, and it came and it was a piece of crap. The wheels were terrible, the trucks are terrible, the bearings are terrible, the design even on it was terrible. I go, oh, there's got to be someone that makes a custom. And I couldn't find anyone that allowed you just to custom that. If I wanted blue wheels or I wanted pink trucks or if I wanted different bearings or I want a different size or a different design, nobody had it. And I go, man, that's so wild that no one does any of this. And hey, hold on one second. You know, just go to the little credit card machine, just punch in how much it is. Sorry, I had someone sick today, so I ended up being here at the store instead of my warehouse and actually being there. So anyway, back on this subject is I needed to I wanted to learn how to make a longboard, and it's just going back to, let's take 3 steps back. I didn't know how to make iPhone apps. I didn't know it. I've built dozens of them now. And even, let's go even a couple more steps. From 1998, my brother said, hey, there's this, well, about 92, he goes, there's this new thing called the internet and websites. He goes, you can make a website, or you can, and you can find things on this website thing. You don't have to go to the library. I'm like, oh, that's so weird. Keep me out of that. And when I remember I was at Salt Lake Community College, I went and did a paper with the Franklin Planner guys. So I met with the vice president, Franklin Planner. This was about 1991. I said, hey, what happens if this internet or this paperless world comes about and people don't want to use paper anymore? And he goes, you're crazy. Paper's never going anywhere. People are always going to use paper. Don't worry. We're always going to use paper. And all of a sudden, about 1998, Franklin Planner paper, all the stores in the mall shut down. They're gone. And the guy was not innovative enough to say, hey, paper, maybe a digital world will move. So in 1998, I thought, man, this internet thing is getting bigger and bigger. I had to figure out how to make a website. So my brother said, hey, there's this class. It's $5,000 to learn how to make websites, but the first day is free. I said, awesome, let's go to the first day. That's all I can afford. So I went to this webinar, and it said, this guy's showing how the code is all on the back of websites. And he's like, hey, look at this. You can find all of this code. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's all I needed to know. So is find code. And so I built my first website, and then I built another one. Then I built another one. And that's the same thing when it went to iPhone games. One guy, I took this online class. Again, the guy says, for $1,000, I'll teach you how to make mobile games. I was like, oh, sweet. I want a game. And so I took this class, and he taught me the simple secrets of how to make games. So I became this game guy. And I always always thinking, if you want to learn something, so your teacher's not going to like what I'm going to say here. So they may bleep me out right here. They may actually cut this whole section out and throw in the garbage. But here's my problem with school. And I know I'm going to be bleeped out right here. So when you ask your neighbor right now, what's the answer to something on a test, is called cheating. Okay. And this is important to know. In business, that's actually called teamwork. And I want you to think about that. When you get to the real world, I don't need to know everything. I don't need to know everything, but I need to know how to find the answers to them. I need to be able to rely on the people I hire, the employees, my coworkers, even my competition. I'm best friends with almost every owner of every skateboard company out there. And we share ideas with each other. We don't cheat, because that's what school's for. School's, you ask your neighbor, that's called cheating. So real business, real life is use your resources around you. So going forward to today in longboarding, my partner is the one that knows how to use the machines, how to cut these boards, how to do it like that. He is the genius of running and, the software and the machines and all like that. I don't need to know that. I cheat, and according to school. Websites, social media, that I cheat. I use my teammates. Learning how to ship stuff, how to do things. I ask my competition all the time, man, what shipping system do you use? Where do you buy your boxes? Where do you get your wheels and bearings? And I network. Networking is the most important thing you can ever do in business. Is don't make enemies with anybody. Be friends with everybody. You don't know when something's going to come about, and you're going to need somebody for their advice, or they're going to need your advice. Don't always be just a taker, also be a giver. and just be an open book, say, this is what I do, this is how I do it, and let me share. So right now, today, fast forward, I'll go back to my story, but I share with, I'm helping out another longboard company right now with all their social media. I'm helping out another one with all their shipping and their expenses and how to put stuff together. And so I'm always sharing. And then another board company out of Detroit, I help him with different things all the time. We're always sharing ideas with each other. So let's go back to raving fans, how Ghost Board started. So 2017, I was sitting at home thinking, man, I want a longboard. I couldn't find a good longboard. My neighbor, who's my partner, his name's Brent, he made a longboard for his 10-year-old son out of plexiglass. And I thought, oh my gosh, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's clear. It's awesome looking. You can grave anything you want on it. And so I said, hey, Brent, will you make me one of those? And he told me no for 4 years. Every time his son rode over to my house to hang out with my son, I'd always ask him, come on, can I have one of those? It's so cool. And finally, after 4 years, he finally made me one. So persistence is a very, very important thing to do. Don't ever give up. Even when you think you're being told no, everybody says no to you. And they're always going to say no to you, but just be persistent, be honest, and be who you are. So he finally made me a board, and I started playing around with it. And I figured out LED wheels and what designs can you do, what shape is really fun to ride. And I started riding this thing everywhere. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love the flex on it, I love the feel on it, but what if we did this to it? So I went back to my neighbor and I go, okay, Brent, I have an idea for you. I go, don't you want a new car? And he goes, yeah, I really do want a new car. I go, okay, I have a deal for you. Let's make these boards and I'll only sell enough that we make $400 each so we can both get a new car. And he's like, all right, Russ, we'll do that. And so I said, sweet. So I went home and I jumped on a website, and I'll tell you the easiest website to ever build a website off is called Shopify. And so I said, for about 2 hours, I hurried and made this website, went to GoDaddy, registered Ghost Longboard, and I had a business license still for my mobile app games. And so the company is called Marketing Fruit because I was marketing a fruit, which is an Apple phone. And so I just did a DBA. I'm like, I don't know if this Ghost Longboard thing is going to go anywhere. And so I just did a DBA Ghost Longboard. I made this website like in 2 hours, took a couple of pictures with my phone of the board. And then I went out and wrote it. And I opened up an Instagram, a Facebook, and started just putting it everywhere, just whatever. I'd go to work during the day. I'd come home and there'd be like one order. I was like, oh, sweet, I got an order. And so I'd call up Brent and I'm like, hey, I need a board made with this design. And he's like, okay, all right. So then he would make it for me, bring it over to my house, drop it off. Now I'd put the wheels and some truck. I went to eBay, bought some wheels and trucks and things and put it on it and put it in a box. I went and dropped it off at the post office. And I was like, sweet, I sold one. So going back to this, again, the most important thing to ever know is I wanted to create raving fans. And what that means, I believe everybody that rides one of our boards becomes a raving fan. That means they're going to love it as much as I do. They're going to love the feel, love what it does. They want to take pictures and tell all of their friends about it. And so with that, I always say, I warrant everything. Anything breaks on it, I don't really care. I'm going to replace it because I want you so happy with our product. I want you so ecstatic that you are going to go tell all of your friends about it. And that's still the very most important thing of the business today is creating raving fans. And that's what happened to us as all of a sudden one person bought a board. Guess what? Their brother wanted one. Then their sister wanted one. Then their dad wanted one. Then the dad wanted, ones for his company. And so what happened, we started selling, 10 a month and 30 a month. And then the guys that So a big company called Vivint called me up, says, "Hey, can we get 150 of those boards?" And I was like, "Of course you can. Why not?" So I call up my partner, Brent, and I'm like, "Is that even possible for us to make 150 boards?" He goes, "No." I go, "Well, we got to do it anyway. Whatever." I just faked it that we can handle an order that big. And so he goes, "Okay, Russ, let me go figure this out." And so I'm ordering orange wheels and white trucks to match their colors of their company. And so he gets 150 cut for me. And then I invited all my nephew and nieces over to the house, and we all had assembly line. We put on Spider-Man on the TV, and I got my 6-year-old putting wheels together. I've got my 10-year-olds putting the wheels on the trucks, and I got the 15-year-olds, putting the, the wheels on on the boards. And then I'm doing an inspection to make sure everything looks good. And that's how we started. Really, it was just a night and weekend, and just a hustle every night of trying to create raving fans, because I believe every person that bought a board from us was going to go tell all of their SOI. And what that means, their fear of influence. Everybody that they know, they're going to post it on their Instagram, their TikTok, their Facebook, and they're going to show it off their entire neighborhood. So as you see one of our boards riding down the road, you can't miss it. It's the only clear board with LEDs lighting up the street. And, and you look, you're like, what did I just see? What was that? And so that's how we got started. Just started building a building according to being raving fans. And we started getting bigger. So what really the biggest game changer for us was May 31st of 2020, right during COVID. We're still doing this 30 to 50 boards a month. Every once in a while a spike of 100 boards, and still this nighttime hobby. I'd build them at night and just with my kids, and would assemble them, and I'd put them in my car and then hit the UPS store on my way to work. So May 31st, there's this girl named Maddie, and she lives in Ohio. So she buys a butterfly board. We started adding new designs. Let me go back to that for a second. We came out with 10 original designs. And I'll tell you, today we never sell those designs. It's even my partner's, his favorite design. It's called the Epicenter. We've probably only sold 10 in our lifetime out of probably 100,000 boards. So something also to be really aware of is sometimes don't get so emotionally invested in your product or your thoughts or your design. Follow the thoughts and designs of the consumer. Don't get so caught up that you are right and your customer's wrong. I think that's super important to know. So, and we learned that is not to be emotionally invested, is find what designs they want. And that's where we opened up. Is like our number one seller today is a skeleton rose. It's a skeleton hand holding a rose. Number 2 is a butterfly. Number 3 is a dragon. But do I care? Are those any of my 3 favorites? Absolutely not. I actually think we have 50 other cooler designs than those, but it doesn't matter to me. That's what the customer likes. So this butterfly board we made came from a girl had a tattoo of a butterfly sent to us, like, "Hey, can I get a board with the butterfly?" I'm like, "Sure." Anytime I did like a custom, I'd add it to the website. I'm like, "Okay, that one's be pretty good. Let's try it and see if other people like it." And so this Maddie girl bought the butterfly, and she was a senior in high school, and she had maybe like 50 followers at the time. And she does this video and says, "Hi guys, my name's Maddie. I just bought this new longboard from Ghost Longboards, and I'm going to teach you how to ride." And so she goes, "Here's lesson number 1, put it down." And then she stands on it and rides it. And TikTok, I never even heard of TikTok. I didn't know what TikTok even was. All of a sudden, my phone blew up, and I had like 600 orders in one day. And Brent calls me up in a panic. He goes, "Russ, I think the website's broken." You need to really look at it. Something's gone crazy. There's 600 orders sitting in there. I'm like, yeah, I'll look into that. Start digging, I'm like, oh my gosh, something. And my daughter comes home from school, says, Dad, have you seen the TikTok? I go, what's TikTok? And she goes, here, let me show you. I'm like, what? Yeah. And there was like millions of views, millions. And we're like, oh my gosh, what do we do? And Brent's like yelling at me, shut the website off now. So I'm like, okay, I'll shut it off. I'm trying. And I'm thinking, this is the coolest thing ever. Why would I shut it off? I go, this is like hitting the jack. I mean, like, I'm still like in heaven thinking, oh my gosh, this is so darn cool. And so time I get the website off is the next day. And there was another 600 orders. And so we had like 1,200 orders and I shut the website off. And he comes over to my house. He goes, okay, we're in a mess. He goes, how are we going to make 1,200 boards? We've never even made 1,200 boards ever in our entire life. And I go, I'm not sure, but I'm going to cheat and go ask my neighbor. And so I go, Brent, let me figure it out. So I start calling up friends in the industry. I go, and I talked to this one guy named Joel out of Detroit, owns another longboard company. I go, hey, Joel, I'm in a bind. He goes, hey, you need to call my friend Alan in California. He owns a skateboard distribution. He might be able to help you. So I call up this Alan guy. I go, hey, Alan, my name's Russ. I own Ghost Longboards. He goes, yeah, I've just heard about you. And I go, I hope that's good. He goes, I got you. He goes, what do you need? I go, I need like 1,200 sets of wheels and trucks. I need them like today. And he goes, gotcha. And I'll take care of you. He goes, people want your product. Turn your website back on. I go, gotcha. So I call up, so I get on the phone with my nephew and he just got married. And he goes, hey, Russ, do you have a job? I'm looking for a job. I go, yeah, I do. If you jump in your truck right now and you drive to California, I'll give you $500. If you're back in 24 hours, I'll give you a bonus $500. He goes, I'm done. I'm going. And so he takes off, fills up his truck and picks up all these wheels and trucks. And I tell Brent, I go, and I sat down with him and his wife and I go, I want to turn the website back on. And I go, do you want to quit your job? And his wife's looking at him and I'm looking at him. I go, how much do you make? And he told me, and I go, quit your job. And he's a little bit scared and worried about to do this, to jump all in. And I said, we have a product that people love. It's gone viral. People like it. People are going crazy over it. Let's see what happens if we turn the website back on. And I flip it on. And the end of that month, we sold over almost $1 million in longboards. Now, the crazy thing about that is you think, oh my gosh, you just made $1 million, but you got to spend it before people hurry and start getting their money back. So you have to hurry and provide them product. So during that period, we hired like 50 people in the neighborhood, all my kids, all their friends and all their friends and all their friends' friends, and to come over to my house. So my wife is the smart one. She's like, okay, I'll get an attorney. I'm going to get a payroll system. I'm going to get a CPA. I'm going to get this organized. And everybody started being really super cool, helping us grow this business. I had the UPS and FedEx guys sitting on my couch every day, teaching me how to do labels, how to get a better discount, how to do the shipping. Even today, the UPS driver's name's Kelly. He knows my garage door code. He still will text me, hey, Russ, I put some packages in your garage. Like he knows he knows how to get in my house and, but we became such good friends over all this. Everybody pitched in to grow this business. Now I'm going to say I had no gray hair before this happened. And you don't grow a business just working 8 to 5. If you ever want to be an entrepreneur, it's really from 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. That's really the business, to own a business. Fast forward today, we've sold thousands. We're in hundreds of stores around, the nation. We ship worldwide. We have a 8,000 square foot warehouse. We have a retail store where I'm at today. But it all comes down, I think, to a couple things. One is your network, knowing where people can help you. So cheat. So ask your neighbors and your friends how to do things, because I believe always hire people smarter than you, not dumber than you, because if you hire people dumber than you, it just makes you dumber. So if you always hire people smarter than you, it makes you smarter. So always surround yourself with smart people. Number two is always create raving fans. That's still one of the most important keys to business, is make sure you build a product or you sell a product that you believe in more than anybody. And don't be, I rip on home builders. Sometimes a big home builder will build a house that doesn't even fit a truck. And I'm like, okay, home builder, you drive a truck. Why didn't you build a house that your truck could actually fit in the garage? And I go, how dumb are you? You don't believe in your own product, because you wouldn't even live in your own product. So you got to use your own product. You got to believe in it. You got to use it. I still ride every single board that we ever make. I still write every day. I still answer 300 DMs a day. I still do all of the social media. I still do all of the marketing, and I still take pictures of every single board that we ever do. And a lot of people are like, really? Well, there you go. That says I have 65,000 pictures on my phone. And I've got how many videos on here? 11,277. Every picture that's on my social media website all comes from a simple phone. That's it. You don't need high-tech equipment to run a business. You can run the business from your iPhone. I mean, they take great pictures. I still use it today, and we've made millions of dollars. The most important thing is never stop growing. So you have to continue to expand your business. So we keep expanding from LEDs to resin to eventually we're going to launch snowboards, to other things, to skate, to wake surfboards. We're always growing. I went from marketing fruit, DBA, Ghost Longboard to Ghost Boards. Actually, this next week well, I can't say the date. Soon, we just got approved with the SEC. We're doing a stock option for the company, and so we're continue growing, expanding, finding great talented people around the world. So network. All of you have a phone in your pocket. At every stoplight, you could connect with 30 people on LinkedIn. Every stoplight. Get your 20,000 connections on LinkedIn. Connect with your friends, connect with other people around the world. There's tons of smart people out there. And at the end, always create raving fans, love what you do, and just go for it and work your butt off. So that's what I have. I'm Russ Warner, CEO of Ghost Boards. If there's questions somebody has, I'm just a regular guy. I really am, that just like to just have fun and make a fun product. Any questions?
Thank you so much. And it kind of worked out. It's cool because you're in your retail store. That was great. We got to see, to look around, huh?
I am, yeah. Well, the warehouse is more impressive, but the retail store is still fun. It's fun. I'll tell you what I use the retail store for. It's actually for product development and seeing what people want to see. So I love for people to come in, and I love to come here and learn and let people spin the wheel of prizes, to get free stickers, to get free candy, to win something. So it is something I enjoy, coming here and let people and get to learn how to make raving fans out of people. And so this is what I love. It's a great store. It's fun, and the business is fun, but all business is stressful. So don't think business is easy. You have to work your butt off, and you can build a business, anything you want to do.
Great. Do you guys have questions? Yeah,
Yeah.
you can tell me the question and I'll relay.
Okay, so the beginning goal was getting 400 a month.
Okay.
So after all the social media blow up that you had, what was the next goal?
Did you hear that, Russ?
Yeah,
Or-
yeah. So I did buy a new truck. That's the first thing. I did get my $400. And after that, then I bought the boat, then I bought the house in St. George, and then I bought, so yeah. The next goal was, I'll tell you what's been fun. It wasn't about the money anymore. It became, what can I do for others? So the first thing we did is made an environment with the warehouse. Everybody's got something going on in their life, be anxiety, depression, cancer. And one is, I wanted to create a place that was a safe haven for, number one was employees. Then number two, how do I give back? So we've given lots of scholarships to our employees for college. I've paid for a lot of church missions. Going back to Maddie, actually, I paid for her college. So I called up her mom and we paid for her college. And we raised money at Make-A-Wish Foundation to give away to a little 10-year-old that had cancer. We did Underground Railroad. We raised money for them. Right now, I just barely got off a call it's called Boarding for Breast Cancer, B4BC, where in October, we're making some boards for breast cancer. We're donating. Our goal is to see if we can help raise money for breast cancer. And so today's goal is, one is always have a fun place for employees. We're very flexible. The employees tell us when they can work, not the other way around. We don't tell them when they have to work. So most of our kids at the warehouse are college and high school kids, and they tell me their schedules, and we try to work around them. We need them to enjoy what they do, love to come into work and be all in and not be stressed. Number two is how we can give back to communities and events and just give back. And I think that's important. Probably my biggest love is when I get pictures or handwritten cards of a girl or a little boy hugging his board saying, man, this is the best Christmas ever. I did have two kids come down from Primary Children's Hospital about a month ago. One was going to lose his leg. And what he wanted before that, he wanted to go out and ride a longboard. And so we made a longboard that said, cancer sucks. And he went out and rode it for the 2 weeks before his leg was amputated. And the other one only has like a 17% chance. Same thing. He wanted one that said cancer sucks, and he wanted to go ride before chemo took him over. And so we just did another charity event for Mascots for Heroes and donated some boards and some stuff to help out kids and other people. I'll tell you, I probably enjoy that more than anything now is how can we use these boards to help out others around the world, from donations to gifts, to suicide prevention, to cancer. And I really wish that was more of my full-time job now is bring smiles to people's faces and get to use my product to do it.
Great, thank you. Do you have time for a couple more? Oh.
Yeah, let's do it.
A couple more questions. All right, who has a question? Okay, yeah, over here, just talk real loud.
Okay, so your marketing is mainly on Instagram. Would you say it's been difficult to manage? It's like constant evolution. We're seeing new features being added almost every year, I guess.
Marketing is a fun thing to do. I love marketing. I'd say I'm probably more of a marketing guy. I love to play around with different channels, from TikTok to Instagram to Snapchat to Google. All these channels of marketing. There's tons of it out there. You have to be in a rhythm. Like Instagram, I post every single day, and I answer probably 300 DMs a day. It's funny, you can get so caught up in trying to perfect a video or picture. I'll tell you, people love raw. They just love you as being yourself. That's why I shoot everything from my iPhone. It's like, I don't need to go make something fancy or something crazy. Just go shoot a video. Just go have fun. It doesn't need to be all clipped and prettied. And, I don't need to look like I'm 19, and use some facial thing to make me look young. People don't care. They like the realness. We use a lot of influencers. I probably have now 2,500 influencers, and because I get hit up probably every day is, can we be an influencer? Can I do this? And I've made boards for Wiz Khalifa. He won a bunch of pot leaves on his board, to Imagine Dragons, to some Carlos Boozer for the NBA. We've done boards for the Utah Jazz. So you get to meet a lot of fun people in business if you're just nice and you do the right thing. But social media is a fun, changing, evolving thing that I don't think you can ever really stay on top of. You just do the best that you can.
Great. And one last question. Yeah.
You talked a lot about networking. What are like some of your networking tips?
Is be real. People, I think networking is still one of my favorite things to do. A quick little story on that. I've always been big at networking. I always get to know everybody. And I even tell my kids, I go, be nice to everybody. You never know if that guy that you picked on, maybe your dentist one day or your orthodontist, you don't want them inside your mouth and you were mean to them. So be nice to everybody. I love talking to everybody. Now, I have to be careful because I'll be in an elevator and if I'm with my kids, they won't let me talk to everybody. But usually if I'm not with my kids, I get to know everybody on the elevator time we get down 2 floors. I like to know where they're from, what they do. Everybody that walks into my store, you'll get to know me personally. I'll get to know you personally. I'll know where you're from, how many kids you have, what your name is, where you go to school. I believe in just making friends with everybody. So I love LinkedIn, face-to-face. Just be kind to everybody. Just be real. Don't ask the dumb questions. How are you? Because you're going to get the same answer. Good. That means raving fans, what? You failed. So you get to know them for real and get to know who the real person is. I think that's more important. So networking, just be nice to everybody. I think that's the number one thing to ever do.
All right. Well, thank you again, Russ. That's so awesome that your company is looking to go public. That is amazing. Gosh.
Yeah, kind of crazy.
Yeah. So cool. And really, I'm glad that this worked out. So we got to see your store. Awesome. Well, thanks again, Russ. Glad we could make it work.
Thanks, guys. If you're ever around, come say hi.